Sean Hannity Show.
All right, as we roll along, Sean Hannity Show, glad you're with us. Toll free, 800-941-SEAN. You want to be a part of the program. Mike is in Virginia, former LAPD officer. Mike, how are you? Welcome to the show. Glad you called.
Good. How you doing, Sean?
I'm good, sir.
Good. Listen, regarding Dorner, there's really, just to get right to the meat of the thing, there's two things that trouble me beyond the obvious tragedy of this whole thing. And I'm curious to see what you think about that. One of them is the message that we're inadvertently sending to potential terrorists with the ease of shutting down an entire state by the actions of one guy. And bear with me on this. We saw what happened out here with the D.C. snipers. And I'm not saying that I have the answer for it. Of course, in the interest of public safety, the media has got to cover this in a certain level of detail. But I've noticed, and this is my second concern, that there's a growing number of people, on the internet circles who are really using this guy's crimes to gin up calls for LA riots #2, civil unrest. He's almost becoming, or I fear that he'll become, a larger-than-life, figure to a certain anti-police segment of society. And finally, I want to tell you, because you had mentioned regarding you had brought up a disguise, and I'm 6'4", 280 pounds, and I will tell you that if I put on a muumuu and a wig, I could walk around like a very ugly man, but be fully body armored up with an assault rifle. So, these are things to consider. What do you think?
What's a muumuu?
Muumuu is one of those, you ever see the heavy-set women back in the 80s that would wear these really ugly floral dresses? You sometimes see these things. In other words, there are some pretty ugly garments that can be used to cover a big, ugly guy like myself up.
So what are you saying he could dress like a woman?
Sure. I mean, if you think like Mark said, you got to think like the suspect. You have to get your mind into his head. So you're him, and you have got to, for whatever reason, you're in between your hidden caches of supplies, and you've got to go into the local 7-Eleven for whatever. You're not going to walk in there with your face plastered all over. He's a very distinct-looking guy, as Mr. Furman said, and easy to identify. He's going to have thought this out, and, he's not an idiot. And unlike a lot of folks who think that crazy people are stupid people, this is a cunning person with some skills. He's got an element or a level of skills in terms of tactics. And, this is a cat and mouse game. Mark Furman said it absolutely right. My fear all night analyzing this is that he is going to, I just feel instinctively that whole car burning thing was to lead people up into that area. I don't think he's anywhere around there. I think he's going to go bed down somewhere, and he's going to wait until the resources run out, just as Mr. Furman said.
I think listen, I wouldn't be surprised if he drove out of state. I wouldn't be surprised. Who knows where he's going to show up? Now, remember, we've had a lot of these guys in the past. How long was Ted Kaczynski hiding out in that shack of his, reading Earth in the Balance?
You got it right. You got it right. And I was talking to my wife about that. I said, imagine the horror that he could cause if he went out and caused some fatal damage in some of the surrounding states. He could literally pop back and forth. And this is an act of terrorism that really should be studied and thought out, because wherever you have one thing that is successful, there's always some guy that's going to think, hey, I could top this. I could do this better. And this is one of my biggest fears about too much media coverage. I went into this with the school shootings, too, that happened. I mean, I think there's a point where we do need to know that a person did something horrific, but at a certain point, it becomes staring at a car accident scene. There's nothing good that can come out of it except giving bad people ideas that, you can take a guy who's a nothing, and he can become world famous very easily, as you see it's happening with this guy. Now, this guy clearly wasn't in the same level as the school shooter, but you get my point. It's very scarily easy for one person nowadays to completely cost an entire state.
You're saying something that's actually fairly profound, and that is, I think society slipping into at least pockets of chaos. We're a lot closer to it than people might even expect.
Absolutely, and it is, of all the things that worry me before this incident happened, it is the amount of interest, of gawking that we have. And I mean, I'm guilty of it too. If we're honest with ourselves, we have almost been conditioned to want to know what people put on their Facebook accounts.
Oh, listen, I think this guy I think you're right. He has tactical skills. And I think the reason he mentioned all these media figures that he's sucking up to and kissing their backsides and naming enemies is because I think he wanted the attention. I think this guy is planning this out in a pretty sophisticated way.
He's like a very dangerous big kid throwing a tantrum, and the only difference is he's not going to throw his toys around. He's going to slaughter people. So, this is about as volatile situation as you can get. And, I just, my heart goes out to the victims that have already suffered, and my prayers go out to the officers and the people that are going to accidentally or intentionally get in this guy's way.
Yeah, good call. I really appreciate your insight and your professionalism. Thank you very much. Anyway, toll free, it is 800-941-SEAN if you want to be a part of the program.